Welcome to Vuln Vibes. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something pretty significant in the vulnerability research space, the Apple Security Research Device Program. Our goal here is really to unpack what this program means technically and strategically, especially for high-end iOS research,
Yeah,
and what it signals for security trends overall.
absolutely. It's quite a shift, actually. Apple's basically creating a formal pathway here. Before this, researchers often had to find their own ways, and sometimes risky ways, just to start looking for vulnerabilities.
Right. So this SRD, the Security Research Device, what is it exactly? You called it a fused iPhone.
Yeah, fused is their term. It basically means it's a specially configured iPhone. The hardware and software, they're set up to disable many of the standard security layers, so researchers can, well, get straight to the point finding bugs instead of spending ages just trying to break in.
Okay, that makes sense. And this is where it gets particularly interesting for, let's say, advanced threat analysis. What kind of access are we talking about?
Well, the sources highlight some key things. Full shell access, that's big.
Huge.
Researchers can choose specific entitlements, and crucially, they can customize the kernel right on the device.
Customize the kernel. Wow.
Exactly. Plus, they get early looks at software previews, security betas.
So between shell access, entitlements, kernel customization, what stands out most to you? Why is this such a leap for finding those deep system, those kernel level flaws?
I mean, the kernel customization is probably the biggest game changer. Think about it. Historically, getting that level of control often meant you had to burn a zero-day exploit just to start looking for other exploits.
Right, using an exploit to find exploits.
Or you'd be doing incredibly complex reverse engineering, often unreliable, definitely risky. Now, with the SRD, you can jump straight into probing the kernel, the core system components. This directly helps understand potential zero-day vectors, how they might fit into, say, an APT kill chain.
And the scope is broad. They can look almost anywhere.
Pretty much all of iOS and the iPhone hardware is fair game. There are some specific carve-outs like Apple Pay, which makes sense, and third-party apps, but otherwise, it really shifts the effort from getting access to actually using that access to find vulnerabilities much faster.
Okay, so the access is unprecedented, but there's also an incentive structure tied in, right? It links to Apple's bug bounty.
Yes, absolutely. Vulnerabilities found using an SRD, they qualify for the Apple Security Bounty Program, and they've added a smart little kicker: bonuses if you find bugs in the beta or preview software.
So encouraging early detection.
Exactly. Find it early, report it early, Apple patches it early, before it becomes a widespread threat, potentially. It helps break that kill chain much sooner in the life cycle.
Makes sense. And it's not just about the money, is it? There's a community aspect.
Right. Researchers get access to a dedicated SRD community forum, specialized tooling. It encourages some collaboration, sharing knowledge, but in a controlled way.
And the program itself, how does it work logistically? These aren't devices researchers get to keep, are they?
No, definitely not. It's structured as a 12-month loan, renewable. Apple keeps ownership. And usage is strict. It has to be used on-site, at an approved location, not for personal stuff. Only authorized people can touch it. And critically, you must report any vulnerabilities you find directly and promptly back to Apple. That's core to the whole deal.
So who gets access? It sounds like you need a pretty strong background.
You definitely do. The bar is high. You need a proven track record finding significant security issues, either on Apple stuff or other modern platforms. You need to be in an eligible country, be a legal adult, obviously, and haven't worked for Apple recently, like within the last year.
And is this ongoing? When can people apply?
Applications are open through October 31st, 2025. It's global, but they only issue a limited number each year, so it's competitive. Very competitive.
Let's zoom out a bit. Strategically, what does this program really signify?
Well, fundamentally, it lowers the barrier to entry for, really advanced security research. It takes it out of this gray area of workarounds and puts it onto a legitimate, supported footing.
Which encourages more testing, especially earlier.
Precisely. More eyes, earlier eyes, especially on beta code. That lets Apple be much more proactive about patching things before they hit the mainstream and become real threats.
So it fits into that broader trend we're seeing, vendors trying to formalize ethical hacking.
Exactly. Especially for these really deep, privileged layers of the system. It's about vendors actively engaging the research community. And you have to wonder how this might change the whole ecosystem around zero-day discovery and disclosure. Maybe even the tools and methods offensive researchers focus on.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a pivotal move by Apple. It's structured, it's incentivized, and it's focused on strengthening iOS security by leveraging external expertise.
It's about enabling the good guys, basically, giving them the tools to find the weaknesses before others do.
So wrapping up, here's something to think about. As this SRD model, this structured, incentivized approach, potentially becomes more common, how might it shape the future of offensive security tools? And what could it mean for the visibility, maybe even the commoditization, of vulnerabilities in critical systems down the line? Definitely food for thought.